record. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of A Rebel Without Applause, coming to you from two very distinct locations. One right here in the Wood of the Holly from my television studio apartment. On the other side of this incredible digital divide across continents and oceans is journalist and raconteur Hugh Bohane from somewhere inside Poland near the border with Ukraine. Welcome to the show, and thanks so much for taking the time to join me.
My pleasure, Bill. Thanks for having me.
So
happy International Women's Day.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. I have no women here to celebrate with. That's one of the sadnesses of my life, but I appreciate the the greetings. Let's start off right off the bat. The last time I saw you was on day one of Big Bad Vlad's mad war, and you were in Kyiv in a hotel waiting for everything to bust loose, as it had and is still happening. Where are you now, and what's happened since? Just brief me if you could.
Okay, so right now I'm on the Polish-Ukrainian border, and I've just been working here all day filming. I've been here in this area for about 4 days now. So I left Ukraine 4 days ago. The last time we spoke, I was in Kiev and the war broke out. And so I had to move to a basement of a hotel while the explosions were happening and gunfire. So we were in a basement for a couple of days. And then we managed to get on a train and head west to Lviv. And I spent a few days in Lviv. And then I crossed the border into Poland.
Now, the news reports I saw coming out of Lviv it was a mass exodus, just hundreds of thousands of people rushing by road and rail to get out of the Ukraine. What did you observe?
Yeah, that's right. There was total chaos in the train station. Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of people packed in like sardines, trying to get onto a train. So you can imagine, yeah, transport has been difficult, and yeah, it was a pretty amazing train journey. You know, just everyone pretty rattled in the train heading out west. We had a low-flying Ukrainian fighter jet cruise past the window, which we at first thought was a missile, but fortunately it was a fighter jet from the Ukrainian side. So yeah, pretty wild. And then, you know, in Lviv, even lots of air raid sirens day and night. But fortunately, no explosions or gunfire while I was there.
But plenty of the explosions, I gather, when you were in Kyiv. I mean, it must have been crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. You know, 5 or 6 explosions the night after I spoke to you in that basement. Very loud. So yeah, you can imagine, you know, for the Ukrainians, very tough situation. And, you know, everybody's tired, everybody's pretty worn down. But you know, that resilience, it's infectious, and it rubs off on you, and you sort of just push through.
So what I'm reading about in terms of this patriotism and this struggle to resist isn't just something made up. It's real. You've observed it. It's happening.
Yeah, it was loud and clear. I mean, I heard the explosions all through the night. They were very loud. Yeah, and we just kind of huddled together, and I was with some Italian journalists, some Japanese journalists, some Ukrainian fixers, and yeah, we just got through the night, you know, or the nights, and just kind of, you know, had each other's back. And yeah, what can I say? I mean, pretty traumatic experience to go through for everyone. And, you know, there's cities that have been under far severe attack since then, you know, Mariupol, where I'd been a few weeks prior,
right.
And Kharkiv, it's been taking the full brunt, and a lot of destruction there. So it's been real.
And what was the passage like from Kyiv to Lviv?
Yeah, so that was a very long day and night. We had to switch trains 3 times, I think, maybe 4. Yeah, we started sort of in the morning and it went all through the night. We eventually arrived in Lviv at about 4 a.m., I think. So yeah, all of us, not much sleep and not much food. There's food shortages just with this with everything closed. But yeah, we got through.
And what was the countryside like between Lviv and Kyiv? Was there tanks and battles, or was it relatively unobstructed and quiet?
Yeah, other than just seeing that low-flying jets, I didn't see a lot of military activity. But yeah, not to say it wasn't there, I just didn't see it. And yeah, just, wide open spaces, a lot of agricultural areas on the way. Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, as a reminder to people, Ukraine is one of the largest wheat producers in the world. I mean, it is a breadbasket and a mineral-rich country that has, big time economic value. So I guess you're out there in the midst. So you arrive in Lviv. Did you have a place to stay? I mean, you're there with hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, does your being a journalist offer you any kind of safe passage or privileges, or how did that work for you?
I mean, I had a great team with me who were very helpful. But yeah, I mean, hotels are all full. It doesn't matter what your status is. It's just, they're dealing with a housing shortage. Everybody's rushing into hotels. But yeah, I was lucky enough to get a room, and had to move hotels a couple of times just to find vacancies. But yeah, very lucky in that sense.
And internet and phone service, you're able to book and use all the electronic tools you have to find boarding and housing and stuff like that. That was still operative?
Yeah, comms still hadn't gone down while I was there. So again, yeah, lucky with that. Still able to use the internet, still able to use phone service.
And how did you get to the border? Is that a rail link, or did you drive? How did you get from where?
Yeah, from Lviv, I got a car and a driver, and we drove, and that's about a 2-hour drive, 2.5. Yeah, and a lot of checkpoints on the way. A lot of soldiers checking. We were pulled over a couple of times and just had to identify ourselves and say who we were. And then basically I was dropped off at the border crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still with? Yeah, you're still
I hear
there.
you. Your picture dropped out, but I hear you. So just keep going.
Okay.
I lost you. Come back if you can. So we're a temporary disconnect across this little digital thread here, hopefully temporary. As you can see, Hugh is in a refugee center, and there he is. We're going to readmit him. Okay, connecting to me audio. I got you. There you are. Welcome back.
Thanks, Bill. Apologies. Another call came through and knocked me out there. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, so as I was saying, so I was dropped off at the border. Now the border, what you witness at the border is quite dramatic, in the sense that you're seeing a lot of young Ukrainian men saying goodbye to their wives and children, not knowing what's next.
So they've accompanied them to the border, and then they're returning to their country.
That's right. And, so I remember a scene just coming through where a young husband was, saying goodbye to his young wife and child, all 3 of them in tears, as you can imagine. And I walked behind the wife and child, and I looked back at, the Ukrainian man, and it was a devastating thing to witness. It really sort of brought home, the human reality of war, the cost of war. And as I walked through, there were these smiling Polish faces. A female Polish customs officer came over to the woman, put her arm around her and comforted her. and they both walked ahead, and the Polish response, Bill, phenomenal. You just can't believe it. If you don't mind, I'll just give you a little bit of a tour.
Let's do that. Walk me through. You're in a refugee camp somewhere near the Ukrainian border in Poland.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, walk me through and talk me through.
So on my right, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's the DOS tent. They're providing free SIM cards. So all of the Ukrainian refugees who enter into Poland are entitled for free SIM cards straight away. So right off the bat, they've got comms. And
is this administered by the Polish government or by the UN or UNESCO or UNICEF? How is this being administered?
It's a combined effort, but yeah, you just get the sense it's very much driven by the Poles. They're very, very well organized. You've got Caritas here, Caritas Poland, doing amazing work. A lot of the people in the background that you can see in yellow vests, high vis, they're Caritas, doing amazing work.
And Caritas, what is Caritas again?
It's a charity. It's a charity,
a Polish-based charity.
Yeah, it's international, but yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, we've got some fires burning, which is fantastic because it's very cold here, as you can tell. And you know, a restaurant in here, the DOS tent for food, great Polish food, soups, tea, coffee, everything. They're just so well organized.
Now, how far are you from are you right on the border? Are people walking? Are you at the actual border?
Absolutely. I can walk you to the border right now.
Okay.
So so I'm crossing a train track, but there's no trains. They've shut down the train service for this. So.
Wow, Hugh, you're a star. My God, what an incredible experience.
Oh, the Ukrainians and the Polish, they are the heroes, mate.
Wow.
So yeah, I can
so are
probably, I may get stopped, but I'll just try.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, so there's a bus in front of me that's going to collect more refugees.
And do they spend the night there, or are they just shuttled back towards Warsaw and various places for housing? I mean, this is millions of people across huge distances.
Yeah. So there's behind me is a handful of Ukrainians coming through, and basically just where I'm pointing there is the border.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so in terms of housing, the plan is to get everyone to major cities because the smaller towns can't quite cope. You know, we could be expecting up to 5 million people, possibly even up to 10 million. So that's a real strain on housing. So the plan is to get people to Krakow or to Warsaw and go from there. And there's a lot of housing support, a lot of programs where people can get housed and even look at it, short-term employment, long-term employment. So it's a pretty well-run ship. They're doing really well.
What an amazing story. Now, the majority of the refugees are coming to the Polish border. I mean, that's the main exit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Poland is the first choice, and yeah, and to a lesser extent, Slovenia and Romania and Hungary.
Right.
So that's the situation, and yeah, it's been an interesting day. I've been able to do some interviews and talk to some people, cross section of Ukrainians, but also even a Nigerian guy who'd been living in Ukraine for 7 years. He'd started visiting the Soviet region 30 years ago, but based himself in Ukraine. and he was in Kharkiv, and he was working as a pharmacist.
Really?
And his home was destroyed only the other day by rockets, and so he's left. And had a good chat with him. His plan is to go to France and then back to Nigeria. So yeah, and then I've spoken to a young Ukrainian woman who was waiting for her mother. They got separated, and so she was waiting for her mother to arrive here, and it's her mother's birthday today. A lady probably in her 70s, and that was a really happy reunion. Got to see that happen.
And you're archiving this? Is this footage that's going to Australian Broadcasting, or what's happening with this footage now?
Well, now, because I'm freelancing now, my contract with the ABC ended, and I'm just freelancing, and I'm working with a friend of mine, a Polish filmmaker, journalist, and I met him in Vietnam. We've been friends for a few years now, and so he's been amazing. And the idea is that eventually we might sort of collaborate and make a bit of a doco. He's got access, because he works for Polish TV, so he's got access to studios in Warsaw. And so we're planning to have a couple of days in the studio up in Warsaw eventually, and put a rough cut together of the stuff that I've just been doing in the last few weeks.
I can only imagine how this has changed Hugh Bohane. I mean, you cannot go through an experience like this and not have it change you. I'm sure you don't even know how it has, but I'm guessing it has.
Absolutely. I mean, war changes people without a doubt, and you can almost argue for the better in some ways. You pay a cost. I mean, I've had nightmares. I was pretty shell shocked when I got in. But I just keep thinking about the Ukrainians, and Ukrainian journalists still in there, still working on the ground. I had a dose of it. I can't imagine what it'd be like, for weeks. So, I just take my hat off to them and their courage and their bravery.
Wow. Yeah. What a story. Now, you expect to spend some more time there by the border, is that right?
Yeah, the idea is we'll continue for a few more days here. Obviously, everything depends on the situation a bit, but yeah, from this point out, it's really just about covering this mass exodus. This is one of the biggest human migrations since World War II, and it's just an amazing thing to witness, and the goodwill, the incredible Polish hospitality, and other international volunteers and whatnot coming together. It's pretty remarkable. So great to be here to witness that, and then I guess eventually the idea is to pull out, but we'll see.
Now, has the flow lessened or increased? Have you noticed any kind of? Do you think there's still a majority of people trying to get out? Where are we with this exodus?
It does look that way. I mean, they're sort of saying this is a very small border crossing. Mm-hmm. Bill, this is one of the smaller ones.
Where are you exactly? What what city or what area?
Well, to be honest, the name in Polish, and also for security reasons, it's probably better that I don't.
No problem.
Just as this is a developing thing, but right. Basically, it's a southern Polish entry crossing.
Got it.
And yet, so when I say small, I mean it's 1,000 people or more a day, and you just don't know. I mean, no one knows really what to expect in terms of the numbers, but yeah, from what I've heard from organisers here, it's averaging at about 1,000 a day, and this is a very small crossing. So you can imagine the other major crossings. I mean, so when I walk through my crossing, I mean, just was incredible. The amount of people that have been through there, and on busy days, you know, they would have been queuing for hours and hours and hours. You know, sometimes queues up to 30K long.
Are these queues in vehicles or people standing? Are they in vehicles?
They would abandon their vehicles and then start walking. And you know, and one of the things you see when I went through that crossing was literally hundreds of suitcases abandoned along the road that had all been collected and put into a sort of a pile. Just devastating to see the cost of all this and what people have had to go through.
And under, it looks to me like it's very cold. I mean, this is not, you know, this
well,
is
that's
not...
right. That's right. You know, it is very cold here. And still we're expecting, you know, refugees all the way up until 12 a.m. And you can imagine, you know, crossing it at this time of night, just brutal.
Is there any organization that you might recommend that people can, who watch this, can, you know, make a donation to, or, you know, help assist at least financially?
Well, Caritas is definitely playing a huge role here. World Central Kitchen is another great organization that are doing a lot of the food stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's just two well-known groups here that are doing a lot of work. So look them up, Caritas and World Central Kitchen.
Wow. Well, Hugh, you look like you're cold. Now you have a place to stay. You're staying in a home and you're okay and you're getting rest.
Yeah, fortunately, I've been able to get a bit of rest in the last few days, which has just been so good. So I'm very lucky, you know, super lucky. I've had a roof over my head and just really enjoying the work. And, you know, I think with this sort of thing, I think you can relate, Bill, is you don't want to stop. You're worried about stopping because you worry what sort of, when the dust settles, some of that trauma that you've witnessed is just going to rear its ugly head. And so but I know I've got to stop eventually and take stock.
Well, you've sort of, you're kind of the situation. I lost you again. Hold on. I'm going to just hold on one sec, folks. Excuse me. Puede parar? I have a television show. Can you give me 15 minutes, por favor? 15 minutos. Okay. Thank you. Oh, are you back? Jeez, folks. Such is the vagaries of video podcasting. I think I have lost Hugh. We're still waiting for him to reappear. Man, I feel like there's a war zone outside my apartment here in Hollywood. But Hugh Bohane, somewhere on the southern border, is rejoining me again. And we're admitting him on the slender digital thread across continents and oceans to the Ukrainian-Polish border, where he is at a refugee center. There he is. Welcome back,
hey,
bro.
Thanks. Sorry about this. Just
It's
getting
okay.
knocked out.
All of a sudden, they decided to do construction outside my door, and they're like cutting pipes. And I'm going like, wait, the war's supposed to be in the Ukraine, not here in Hollywood. So I had to go outside and tell them to shut the hell up.
Keep it down.
Yeah, keep it down. I got Ukraine and Poland on the other side. What are you, nuts? So I had to go, and I had to do it in Spanish, of course. So it's a multinational. Anyway, so is your day over? Or are you gonna go? Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just waiting for Michael to come back. He's gone across the border to do some filming. So I'm waiting for him to come back. And then I think we'll just wrap up and then hit it again tomorrow.
Well, let's stay in touch, Hugh. I mean,
yeah, man.
What an incredible journey you've been on. And I feel like it's a rare privilege for me to have, you know, your eyes and ears and observations of the biggest story, you know, in decades, and a catastrophe that hopefully will be mediated sooner than later. So I want to thank you, man. Go get some warmth. I'll be in touch, and we'll keep this thing going. Okay.
Okay, mate.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Hugh. I'll be in touch. See you, bro.
Look after yourself. Take care, buddy.
All right, man.
See you, mate.
Take care. So there you have it, folks. That's Hugh Bohane from the southern border, somewhere between the Ukraine and Poland on the border there, and he's doing his part in what is really a massive humanitarian catastrophe and challenge. So I wanted to give folks an eyewitness, ear witness, long kind of version experience of what's going on there and I'm sitting here in the comfort of my apartment with construction and workers outside my door, making my life as miserable as possible. But hopefully the balance of this show got through for you. Till next time, a little short interlude, courtesy of journalist from Australia, Hugh Bohane. And till next time, namaste, shalom, and aloha. By that I mean namashaloha. See ya.